Well, hey everyone, today I'm going to be engaging with a video from Rhett and Link, who are YouTubers talking about their deconversion story. So let's take a look.
This idea of calcifying and being rigid, which again, when your worldview is dominated by this idea that there was a truth that was dispensed 2,000 years ago, and it is the unchanging truth. God is immutable. He does not change. We have this almost cultural idea, like when politicians change their mind, we get mad. But when
I don't know that that's true. When politicians change their mind, we get mad. Sometimes we do. When politicians flip-flop on issues out of convenience and what seems like political convenience, or when they tell us they're going to do one thing and then they do another, we get mad. I think that he's making a little bit of a straw man here, talking about that if somebody changes their mind because of more information coming out, we're really mad about that. I think the rigidity that he's talking about, it certainly can happen. It's possible to be overly rigid and overly confident on a matter. But at the same time, I think that we see the opposite of the overly openness, the idea of not ever landing on anything. So anyway, I think that he's making a little bit of a straw man here, acting like we just get mad when people change their mind. We don't get mad when people change their mind. We get mad when people lie. We get mad when people say they're going to do one thing and then do another. But I don't think that we usually get mad when people change their mind based on investigating and getting new ideas.
But when politicians change their mind, maybe they actually got new information. Isn't that a good thing? The whole flip-flop thing is like, well, what did they flop to? They flopped to the right side of this issue. That's something to be celebrated.
Yeah, well, he's not really taking in why people get mad when politicians flip-flop or when people flip-flop. It's not because somebody changes their mind. It's because somebody promises to do one thing and then when they get in, do the other thing, and then often pretend that they never said that they were going to do the first thing.
But this idea that you would be this rigid, calcified thing, you become brittle. When you get calcified and you get brittle, you can be broken pretty easily.
Now you can. He is right that if you're overly rigid, and this can happen to those of us who are Christians, this is why I think that it is important to have a sense of sort of A-level issues, B-level issues, C-level issues, because if we are overly dogmatic on things that there's a lot of debate or a lot of ambiguity about, we end up in a place where we can very easily be taken off of our solid ground because all it takes is sort of one thing to fall apart when we're not meant to treat every possible interpretation of a passage as solid ground. If we're talking about end times, we believe that Jesus is returning in the flesh and that he will come to raise the dead and usher in the new earth. We absolutely stand on that. Some people think that there's a rapture. Some people think it'll come before or after, during a tribulation. Those are different things. The return of Jesus, A-level issue, rapture, C-level issue. So if something is shaken here on this C-level issue, that's okay. That's okay for me to reinvestigate that and look at that again, or say, hey, maybe I'm not on solid ground right there. So you can become overly brittle. The other side that he seems to be not acknowledging at all is that when you're just a wet noodle and you're just blown about by the wind, that is a great danger also. You got to have some solid ground that you're standing on. You could end up saying, I think that the ground that you're on isn't solid ground, but the idea of acting like we don't all need solid ground, we do all need solid ground.
But I want to stay malleable. I want to stay flexible as I get old. I mean, I remember a moment when I was like 18 years old, and I remember legitimately thinking, I think I kind of understand all the fundamental things that you're supposed to understand about life in the universe.
Yeah, every 18-year-old thinks that. Or every young person at some point thinks like, I get it. So this is not, and obviously we don't get it. There's lots that we don't know. But I think that that's a little bit silly to act like because as a Christian, he thought that he knew everything when he was 18. Anybody who's been around young people, we know this. Like I think back to things when I was 18 and I'm like, oh my gosh, like how did people even put up with me? I was so confident about things that I ended up being wrong about. Every 18-year-old is overly confident in their worldview.
because I am a child of God. I am a Christian. I have a relationship with Jesus. I believe the Bible. That's where I get my morality from. I'm really blessed. I'm really blessed to have found the truth, the universal truth of the God of the universe that I have a relationship with. I am really, really lucky. Now I sit down and I say, man, I just know such a small fraction of the things that there are to know. I'm part of a collective. I'm just a pixel on a screen. I'm not the screen.
Yeah, you're not the screen. We all need solid ground to stand on. It was so sad because he's talking through all these things that he used to believe, like I'm a child of God. There is a God who's revealed himself. I have a relationship with him. Wow, almost sarcastically, well, not almost, but sarcastically saying, wow, I'm really blessed. Yes, you were really blessed. You were really blessed to be brought into that at a young age and to have that brought out to you, that the one true God has revealed himself. You are really blessed. And the weird thing as he talks about it is to say, man, all of us are still growing and learning. When he talks about, I only know a small amount of things, that's true of all of us. I mean, I am absolutely confident in Jesus. I know a tiny percentage of the knowledge that is out there to be known. But no one can function in the world without having foundational beliefs that we use as the bedrock. And Rhett, clearly, he has foundational beliefs that he uses as his bedrock. You have to have things that don't change, that you say, all right, I'm not questioning this. And so whether that's believing, hey, I believe that I am really making these decisions and I'm not a puppet. Or whether it's, hey, I believe that the universe is reasonable and not random. Or if it's believing that there is a God who has spoken and who has revealed himself through his son, who he raised from the dead in order to put the spotlight on, we all have to have ground to stand on. There are probably a whole bunch of things that Rhett believes that he doesn't question. He doesn't question if it would be right or wrong to abuse his child or to mistreat his wife. He doesn't even question that. He just uses those as solid ground to stand on. We all need that. That's not being rigid or calcified in a negative way. That's having a strong foundation. We all have that strong foundation. You're not ultimately malleable. You're trading one for another. And if you're too malleable, that is not good. You're not going to be useful. You're going to be constantly going back and forth depending on the last conversation that you had with someone. As Paul talks about in Ephesians 4, being tossed to and fro by every wave of teaching or every wave of doctrine. He is not incorrect when he sees a danger in becoming overly rigid. He is foolishly not acknowledging that there is a massive danger on the other side when you just say, hey, I'm just malleable, I'm loosey-goosey, I'm open to everything. We're not meant to be open to everything. And how blessed each of us are if the one true God of the universe does reveal himself in a way that we're able to respond to him and be in a love relationship with him.